Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Stand in line for your fix. DeMarcus and Marcus in the mix, serving you another round of fish and grits. What's going on, big dog?
Nothing. Taking it easy. How about yourself, sir?
Oh man, same old, same old. Just another day with this unpredictable weather. We don't know what we're gonna run into every time we step outside.
Boy, my allergies got the best of me right now. I'm trying to sound normal on the mic.
Man, I hear everybody sniffling around here. But man, we did a little sniffing on our stuff. We had to sniff up our Power 10 rankings. The first Power rankings we are going to be releasing on this podcast. I mean, came to a consensus. It was very few teams that we disagreed on. The closest matchup that we had was the Pacers and Wizards. I mean, we probably just have to put that on the bubble right now. I mean, you think we made the right decision with the Pacers at 10? I mean, John Wall is doing this thing, but it's hard to pass on what Paul George is doing with those Pacers over there, winning a fifth straight game just recently.
Well, I'm liking what John Wall and Bill are finally getting that chemistry together. But the thing about it is, I just feel like the Pacers team has a more depth than the Wizards, and I feel like they can make more of a splash in the long run. Because in the power rankings, we're looking at the best team of right now and going forward. And I can see the Wizards tailing off. Yeah, they're hot. Atlanta's hot right now. But I can see those teams falling off, and I can see the Pacers kind of picking it up. You have Monte Ellis, and you have Al Jefferson. You have Paul George, like you said, a hot Paul George. Then you have Teague. Hopefully, when Teague gets together, they should be a nice little threat and make a little bit of noise.
Yeah, definitely. Teague is somebody who can be a threat whenever his shooting is right. I mean, we seen when his shooting falls off, it seems like his overall play just takes a slump. And that's the weirdest thing, especially for a point guard, because you'd think that if you was able to get your teammates more involved, then your shooting will come around. But it's like it's the reverse. If he's not shooting well, he can't get anybody else involved. It's like either I can score or nobody can score.
Well, what's funny about Teague is, ever since he got traded, it seemed like tailed off. And I just wanted to ask you a question. Do you think that the Hawks had foreseen this, and this is why they moved on from Teague?
I think
some of the moves look at some of the moves they've been making. They got rid of Al Horford for nothing. Then they probably saw my shopping pill Paul Millsap around. Then you make a questionable decision in bringing in Dwight Howard, who has been playing better of late. But it just moving Kyle Korver, and it's like track their statement and say that Paul Millsap is not for trade, but because they're on a winning streak right now. But it's just like you just gave one of your offensive weapons to the top team in the East, and I just don't understand, what are y'all trying to do? Are y'all trying to make the playoffs? Are y'all trying to tank this season so y'all can get some draft picks? I don't understand what's going on over there.
I mean, they always make questionable decisions. I mean, especially with the Hawks. I mean, it seems like they always been searching for a superstar. Like they kind of reached out there on Joe Johnson. You see when they brought in Mike Bibby, thought he was going to be a game changer. And then as long as they held on to Josh Smith, knowing that he was never going to meet the potential that they drafted him at, I mean, they always had questionable moves in free agency and also like mid-season, especially this one. Like, you're right. They're giving one of the best shooters in the NBA to the top team in the East already. Like, are you pretty much consenting that, all right, we can't beat the Cavs, so we might as well just juice them up and get lower in the rankings and get a better pick, just like you said.
That's what I think they should do.
It don't make sense, yeah, especially for Jeff Teague, but they probably did see it. I mean, I never seen star quality
drop off like that.
Yeah. Like, to go from an all-star to what he is now, like, he fell off so quick, but he's still probably one of the, I want to say, at least top 15 guards in the league. You'd like to have him on your team, at least as a backup, anybody, but yeah, he was never a star to me to begin with. I think they did make the right move, but I don't think they got enough in return, especially for a player that did make the all-star team. You should be able to get a little bit more.
Yeah, I was hoping they can get more out of him, especially coming into, this. If you want to look at the team on paper, they look like they had a great team that can contend in the East. They can make kind of a splash. They can give the Cavs a run for their money. And they started the season off very, very slow. I don't know. Maybe they had to get some chemistry going. And I expected more out of Miles Turner going into this year. But, for where they're at now and, switching that coaching staff, getting rid of Frank Vogel and thinking, and seeing where the team could be at, I think they're in the right, going down the right direction. But the thing I would want from them is more consistency. I don't want to see you having a good game on Monday, and then come Wednesday, y'all tell off.
Conference, you got to be a little bit more consistent in the Eastern Conference. That's a weak conference to begin with. So you got to be able to dominate to get any type of respect.
That's true.
And they've done it before. I mean, under the wings of Paul George, So it's a team that's capable of doing it, but Paul George got to play out his mind. But that's a lot to take on for one superstar. He do need a little bit more help. At least somebody that can step up and give him alongside 15 to 20 solid every night next to his 20 to 25 he can put up for himself.
That was supposed to be Monte Ellis if you want to be serious about that.
I mean, but we always knew that Monte Ellis was such he always seemed like a ceiling was like 17 points as a scorer. I never seen him as a consistent 20-point scorer. That's maybe because his jump shot is not consistent, especially his three-pointer. He can't hit his threes. If he was able to hit his threes, he could easily average 25 points in this league. But being that he's a liability at the three-point line and he likes to take a lot of jump shots, which that's not today's NBA. You know what I mean? So he's really not fitting in with today's NBA game, but he can still go out there and give you a solid 17.
That's true, and then that's why I was saying I picked him over the Wizards because you also have Thaddeus Young. He's a good unsung player, power forward in the league that has consistent numbers. If you think about it, from going from Brooklyn Nets and going over here, he's having a good season. But they have more depth, and that's the thing I worry about. That's the things I worry about. Honestly, I know we're going to talk about this team a little bit later. That's the thing I worry about the Cavs because right now LeBron James is averaging. They say the second most minutes in the league right now. And, he's been resting. But for him to average those type of minutes, meaning that he's out on the floor more, meaning that your bench, when you're supposed to be getting time, to, get your energy back, get yourself back in the game, get some time to rest, you're not be able to have that time because when you have a good lead, like say you have a good 15-point lead come in, the bench comes in, guess what? They cut the league down and they can't hold the league. So LeBron's playing too many minutes. And that may be a problem going into the playoffs because LeBron's not known to be playing these types of high minutes. So I would like to see how that's going to go in the second part of the season.
I mean, sooner or later, I feel like he's going to take that 1 week off to where he just rejuvenate his body, probably lose a little bit of weight for the playoffs or pick on some weight for the playoffs and lose it during the game. So as usual, he's going to be ready for the playoffs. He's going to be coasting to the finals. They may sweep at least 2 teams out of the 3 they're going to play in the East, and they'll be in the finals in no time. I really don't see nobody in the East competing with the Cavs with the roster that they have right now, especially when they're going to bring a player like J.R. Smith back and you're already getting a Kyle Korver. So it's like they got talent on top of talent.
There's a team I think that can give the Heat a run for their money, but we're going to talk about them later on, and I'll make sure I put a star quote so I'll let the audience know which team I'm talking about.
Definitely. At number 9, we had the Utah Jazz coming in. I mean, this is just a team. This is probably one of the most team-oriented teams in the NBA. Like, there's no superstar. They're all committed to their coach. They play tough defense. They don't take a lot of threes, but when they do take them, they are pretty effective and efficient at it. Well, mainly from George Hill and Gordon Hayward, which I never thought George Hill would be shooting almost 50% from three-point line. I never seen it. I mean, it's like sometimes you see the reason why the Pacers traded for a George Hill over Kawhi Leonard. They didn't know what type of star they had in Kawhi. Maybe the only team that knew what they could make him out was Greg Pop. Just pretty much off his size alone, just pretty much the length of his arms and the size of his hands. So you can't really blame the Pacers for trading him, but he's a nice fit with the Utah Jazz, man. It seems like he's giving them some veteran leadership that you wouldn't expect from George Hill.
Man, he was a great pickup because I said, man, when they got when the Pacers got Teague and they got rid of George Hill, I said, man, they solved their point guard problem. They finally got a consistent point guard that they can bring to their team. Mm-hmm. But it seemed like it's been flip-flop. It seemed like George Hill's been the more consistent point guard this season. And Jeff Teague kind of has not been, because George Hill is averaging, I believe, like 18 points a game, a healthy 4.4 assists a game. But the thing I like about him is he spreads the floor, and he's, him making that consistent 3-point jumper, as you said earlier, is creating more offense, more room for Gobert or, Derek Favors to, move around. And another thing I like about the Jags, they just remind you of a young Spurs team, and I mean by They have team-oriented basketball. You have a good center, as you had Duncan. You can either say that Favors or Gobert. I say more Gobert because he's really been having a good season. And then they have good key pieces. And the one key piece that I really like is I like my boy Rodney Hood because he's an unsung. Everybody doesn't really talk about Rodney Hood
last year.
He's so good when they give him the ball, he is so good. He's averaging only like 13 points a game, which I would like for him to get up, but they don't get the ball to him enough. But when he does get his touches, he makes the most of them. And
he's a 3-point shooter, yeah. He takes threes on the team. Yeah.
And you saw, if you watched the game last night when they played the Spurs, they played tough basketball all game long. And that's the thing I like about the Jazz. The thing I like about the West is, we may have good high-power offenses, but a lot of these teams in the West have a lot of good defense. And that's the thing that the East is lacking. They're lacking in defense. And that's why I would love to say, I wish a LeBron James took his talents over to somewhere in the West so we can really see what LeBron's made of, because he's not tested in the West. In the East. He's tested more in the West, and it's going to show going into the next season because they've been on a cakewalk, because I believe they only played at least, I want to say, about 9 to 10 Western Conference teams, but I would love to see how this is going to be going into the second half of the season.
Yeah, when they're going to be loaded up with the Western Conference teams, I know what you mean.
Because they struggled against, I don't know if anybody really pay attention to this, they struggled against the Phoenix Suns team, and Phoenix Suns is what? I believe 2 games over the Mavs for the last seed in the West. Like, how are you struggling against that team where most West teams, we can blow the Phoenix Suns out? I'm not trying to sleep on the Phoenix Suns like they're not a good team, but if for the Cavs to struggle against that team, no telling what the Cavs may do against a Rockets or Warriors or getting them on their good night. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me on Christmas. Don't get me on Christmas when I'm ready to go home and see my family.
And you taking the next day off, LeBron.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But yeah, this Jazz team is a tough basketball team. They fun to watch. They only fun to watch if you like defense. I'm a defensive person.
So I like watching too.
I root for the defensive players. And I root for a player like Rudy Gobert, especially for him to make the All-Star team. I think if anybody deserves to be on the All-Star team from this particular team, it's Rudy Gobert. Just from his consistency as a defensive player and actually being a true anchor. They say a lot of players are anchors like the DeAndre Jordans, but it helps when you got Blake Griffin and Chris Paul on the other side of the spectrum. Be an anchor when you got George Hill, Rodney Hood, and Derek Favors around you.
There you go, averaging that healthy 12-12.
Exactly. Coming in at number 8, we have the Boston Celtics. I like – there's a lot of things I like about the Celtics. I feel like they still – 1 or 2 pieces away from being a true contender in the East, and they already sitting at the 3rd seed. And so that's a lot to say when the team's already 3rd and you still feel like they can add more and be better. But the consistency you're seeing from Isaiah Thomas is probably the most surprising thing for me, because I didn't think he had it in him. If you want to be completely honest, I thought he was a good pickup last year coming from Sacramento, but I didn't think he was going to be able to run the show like he's doing right now, especially when you add in the Al Horford compared to what he had last year. It's not even like he's feeding Al Horford the ball that much. He's actually creating more offense for himself. And maybe they got a lot to do with the fact that Al Horford can shoot a couple threes, just stretch it out. So now you're leaving the paint open for Isaiah Thomas to get in there and be one of the best finishers in the league.
Well, the thing I liked about Isaiah Thomas, because back when he's with the Sacramento Kings, when he played the Rockets a couple of times, I would look at his game, and his game reminded me of Nate Robinson, and I just say that he would do whatever it takes to score a basket. Same with Nate Robinson. But the thing was, the NBA kind of didn't, how do I want to say this? They didn't work to an acceptance of Nate Robinson. That's why he was bouncing around from team to team to team. But if you give him a consistent, 28, 30 minutes a game and give him some pieces around him, Nate Robinson could have been an all-star. But Isaiah Thomas, when he went to Phoenix, he had something special you could see, because he wasn't afraid to take it to the hole. He was getting a consistent jump shot he was starting to get. And right now he's starting to flourish, and he's flourishing in the Brad Stevens system that he has good. He doesn't have any star talent around him, what allows him to just grow and develop as a player. And I like how far he's gotten as a player. And the thing I like about the Celtics are, just like we talked about the Jazz being a team-oriented team, the Boston Celtics are a team-oriented team, and it shows day in and day out. When you watch them play, they play consistent ball movement. That there's no one too selfish on the team. That they always make sure that the best person that has the best shot gets the shot instead of the star always taking the shot. And Isaiah, does sometimes take his own shots. But I like the way they're playing and they're fitting into that system because they have literally no piece. There's no people on the team that have a glowing record like, oh man, I want that player on my team besides maybe Al Horford or maybe Marcus Smart, but Marcus Smart's not, consistent enough. They really have
I think the glue to everything or what keeps everything in check is the Avery Bradleys of the world. Everybody needs an Avery Bradley, a Patrick Beverly, a Draymond Green, a Tony Allen, just a scrapper, a player that's 6'2", but leading the team in rebounds.
And what's crazy is they're winning without Avery Bradley. That's what's crazy. He's been hurt for a couple of games, and they're still winning, even though they tailed off against the Raptors the last night. But still, they've been playing some consistent basketball without their second key piece.
Yeah, exactly. So you always need that type of scrapper player. That's what really makes everything flow.
You're right.
It's crazy to say, but without Avery Bradley, I don't see them being the third seed in the East, and that seems like a lot. But when you talk about a defensive player on one side, but then on the other end, he can give you 18 points and 7 rebounds. Like that's a lot to take out your offense or even your team in general and still try to be successful without that.
But it's so funny you say that about a scrappy player, and you need a tough person on your squad because now I'm thinking back back to like the Rasheed Wallace's, the Ron Artest, the Steven Jackson, let's take it back to the Jordan days when you had day centers coming in. But the thing I also even the Mavericks, they needed what's his name that would shoot the threes and have the 3 goggles. I can't remember his name to save my life. Was all tatted up. Man, I can't think of his name. But it's just crazy that you really do need a tough team. I mean, a tough player like that to be successful. And I have to say, because I never really noticed that. I'm glad you brought that up. I took something up from this.
Yeah, you always just want to have that one. Somebody got to be able to do the dirty work. You know what I mean? Like everybody want new concrete, but who gonna lay it down? You always gonna have that. You always gonna have that one player. Like, all right, I'll do it. Forget it. And that's
I'll throw the foul.
Yeah, I'll foul him. I'll take it. I got 5, but oh well, y'all better win. So that's pretty much what he brings to the table. I feel like he's the glue piece of that team, but they can always use a scoring 3 guard or a 3 forward just in general. Jay Crowder's good, but if Jay Crowder was a 20-point scorer, this is probably a top 2 team in the Eastern Conference.
Let me run this by you. Okay, so the Timberwolves, they're kind of floating down in the bottom half of the conference. Honestly, they have a good team, but think about this. Anthony Wiggins, he's having a good game right now, but he hasn't been consistent through this whole season. What if the Celtics kind of talked to them and try to get Anthony Wiggins off him and gave us some of their draft picks? He would be nice in the Celtics, in that Brad Stevens offense to spread the floor. They can also create his own shot. Going with Isaiah Thomas, man, that would be a nice little pickup with Al Horford. Woo, that sounds nice to me.
It'll be nice, but it'll be too heavy for the Celtics. Like the Timberwolves will really get nothing in return, pick or not. Like Andrew Wiggins was the first overall pick.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You already lost Kevin Love, so there's no telling that you're going to be able to find another Kevin Love or Andrew Wiggins in the draft. It's just hard to find those caliber players, especially somebody that's your leading scorer on the team. You just really don't want.
Well, Carl,
it'll take a lot. Yeah, Andrew.
I mean, but if you have Karl Anthony Towns on the other side. The only reason why I can say that they may take that because Celtics still have top draft picks in next year's draft, the year after that draft. They still have like a protected top 10 pick or something like that. But think about that.
Thibodeau ain't signed up to trade your best player to his old team.
That's true, but this is like, is he really your best player when you have Karl Anthony Towns out there who's developing in his second year that could easily take over and be the franchise player? Or you can have a Dunn that can.
He will take over. Anthony Towns will take over eventually. May even be this year. But as of right now, Andrew Wiggins, I think he sees himself as the leader of the team until Karl Anthony Towns starts to put up 25 or 30 points consistently. You know what I mean? Like,
all right, well,
at this moment, if you ask me, as poor as the team is doing, I think they still going to lean on Andrew Wiggins to take over the game. I don't think Karl Anthony Towns is at that point yet, but can he get there by the end of this year? Yes. But right now, this is still Andrew's team. But at 12 and 26, you can easily pass the torch to Anthony and start giving him a majority of the shots.
That's true.
All right, man. Well, what we got here at number 7 is the L.A. Clippers, the sad L.A. Clippers. Poor Blake Griffin.
The boring LA Clipper.
I know it's they've been the same team for the last 5 years.
Man, oh my God, I want to talk about the Clippers for 2 seconds. Man, I really wish people would really look back at how far the Clippers have come. But I still think to this day, the most entertaining Clippers team is the one that had Elton Brand, Cuttino Mobley, Sam Cassell. They had Corey Maggette. That was more of a entertaining Clippers team than the one right here. And I mean entertaining as you never knew what you were going to get, but you always got players that played hard, and it showed on the play every game in and game out. People didn't watch that Clippers team because that Clippers team wasn't the most entertaining to watch, but if you really like basketball and you like the fundamentals of basketball, that team overachieved season after season with Elton Brand. But the thing about this Clipper team is we have so much high hopes for them, but they never reach those hopes. So it's just like we're constantly putting them on the pedestal, but they're never sitting up there, or they never want to climb up there. You have Chris Paul, who's probably one of the greatest point guards that ever played to play basketball, but that's it. Because honestly, if you look at their team, they have good talent, but I can't honestly say that I'm gonna have Blake Griffin the whole season because he's always injured, it seems. DeAndre Jordan, yeah, he may be a good defensive player, but on offense, I need you to do more and be more consistently. And then you have Jamal Crawford. Yeah, he comes out there and boogies, but the defense is always lacking with Jamal Crawford. Yeah, they have Austin Rivers. I do personally like Austin Rivers. Now, he's a glowing piece on their team that I would like for him to make that leap and go to a whole nother team and really create some commotion.
Yeah, but I think he needs to leave. He needs to get out of his daddy shadows.
He should. And the Clippers are they're just a beautiful team right now. They're probably not going to go anywhere. And I can honestly say that faithfully because I don't think they're not going to be the Warriors. They're not going to be a Rockets team. They're not going to be the Spurs team. I can't see them beating Memphis. I can really see them losing to the Trailblazers. So at the end of the day, it's just like I can't considerously get hype for this team, but what their record shows for right now, and I give respect to Doc Rivers and the coach he is, and to Chris Paul, and that's why they're sitting at the 7th spot for us.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like that team lets you down every year. It's like they always come in as like the preseason favorites, or is this going to be the year? I think that window is closing slowly, and I honestly never think there was a window to begin with. I think they've been underachieving the entire time that Chris Paul has been there, and he's been carrying this team since he got there. And with the inconsistency that you're getting from Blake Griffin, if he was actually able to get a legit scoring forward, I'm not saying they'll be able to make a run, but I think they'll be in better shape than what they're in right now.
I like the game that Blake Griffin has developed from when he first came in to now, because he's not just dunking, that's it, but he's more of a outside shooter now. He kind of creates his own shot. He kind of can, create passes. The thing he lacks at is the thing that I don't want my power forward to lack at. And it's the same thing I have with LaMarcus Aldridge is on the defensive end. You are too big. Both of them, honestly, are too big of players to lack defense like they do because it's missing from their game. I can't consistently say, in a lockdown situation, I can count on Blake Griffin shutting his man down. I cannot say that because he hasn't shown that ever. And if I want to be honest with, this is the perfect time to play a trade Blake Griffin, while he's going through these ailments, because I believe he becomes a free agent coming up and he's bound to leave, but I need to get something for him.
Right. This probably, as soon as he get healthy, I start fielding offers just to see what you can get in return.
You could probably get some good offers, like him in Boston. That may be good. If Milwaukee just wanted to say, "Hey, I don't mind getting rid of Chris Middleton or something," or Jabbar, I wouldn't want to get no Jabbar party.
Oh, of course not. As the Clippers, I'd want to get anything in return, just any type of asset I can get in return.
Let me ask you a question. How would this sound? Okay, so the Bulls are always shopping around Jimmy Butler for some odd reason. What if they did Jimmy Butler for like a Blake Griffin and something? Jimmy Butler with the Clippers, that sounds kind of intriguing because it gives Chris Paul a consistent I guess third person
scoring option,
good scoring option. Like you have JJ Redick, but you can throw him in a 2. You can throw him in a 2. You can throw him in a 2 and just be okay. Oh yeah, he should come off the bench.
He should be a starter.
You naturally say that he shouldn't be a starter. He should be a good 6 or 7 man coming off the bench because he gives you these good numbers. He gives you the scoring that you need from your bench, but he doesn't give you the defense or the two-way mobility that you would need from him to be your starter. Yeah. Exactly. So that would be beautiful. But I think Jimmy Butler, he really needs to get out that Bulls organization because I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, they're not treating him
because
right
if they want to say in their mind, this dude right here does nothing but score and win, and guess what? We still want to make our team up around agent Dwayne Wade. That doesn't make any sense. That's fucking stupid. That doesn't make any sense. And Jimmy Butler, he's too talented of a player to deal with this. Honestly, if I was Jimmy Butler, I would love to go to Dallas. I mean, yeah, you want to say that Dallas is they're trash right now, but I wouldn't mind going to Dallas.
Yeah. Ownership alone.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind going to probably the Wizards because if they can get rid of because honestly, Bill and Wall is not going to last that long. If they can get Jimmy Butler and they get rid of Bill, that'd be a nice little fit for me, honestly, because John Ball is not a dominant point guard. He doesn't need to score. He doesn't mind passing the ball. But Jimmy Butler got to get out of Chicago.
Yeah, I can agree with that. But it's going to be hard to let him go because they know if they let that asset walk away, they really ain't going to have nothing else.
Ooh, they going back to the Stone Ages, man.
Yeah, because they let Derrick Rose go for absolutely nothing, let Noah go. They ran Luol Deng out of town. This is after Tom Thibodeau killed him for 6 years.
Derrick Rose let himself go because Derrick Rose is a trip. Did you hear this ridiculous thing that he's trying to command a 5-year, $150 million contract? What is Derrick Rose smoking? Because I need some of that.
I think he owes somebody some money or something. I don't know what Derrick Rose got going on.
Derrick Rose has a problem. Somebody needs to psycho-evaluate Derrick Rose on why you leaving games and not telling nobody. Oh, your mama not feeling good. Oh, you sad because you didn't play in the fourth quarter and we came back and we won a game without you. Oh, you're not happy that the team won. You're just mad because you didn't play. Derrick Rose is a baby. He needs to grow up. You've been in the league since what? For what? How many years? 7 years? Grow up. Yeah, you're not getting $150 million. Get out of here. You missed 2 seasons on a bum knee, and then you're trying to ask for more money. Get out of here. You basically laid in the bed, enjoyed your money, and then trying to ask for more money. Get out of here, Derrick Rose.
And we still don't know what happened with the whole rape situation. They act like we just.
Oh, they did downplay. Oh, I did forget about that. Look at that. Look at this bullshit. The media just distracted me with NFL talk and rumors, and I'm forgetting about Derrick Rose raping people.
Gang banging them. Come on, man. Come on, Derrick Rose. Get your
shit. He got it. He got to get some. He needs some counseling, man. They need to holler at him.
You ain't lying, bro. But man, going to our number 16 to go back to the Eastern Conference, we got the Toronto Raptors. Can we officially say that this is DeMar DeRozan's team?
Yeah, yes, we can because I saw him last night. The dude is bad, and the thing about him in a generation where there's 3-point shooter. And there's such an emphasis on shooting threes. He may shoot 2 threes, but all his game is inside. Mm-hmm. And the dude is averaging over 25 points a game right now. He is balling. His turnaround jumper, maybe it needs to be a signature move because he turns around and it just seemed like, how do you have enough time? It's better than Kobe's turnaround fader. Because honestly, with Kobe, yeah, he hit it in big time moments, but he didn't consistently hit. DeRozan is consistently hitting this jumper.
Mm-hmm. You know who he reminded me of just a little bit? You know how Jason Richardson turned his game around late in his career with the Warriors? Mm-hmm. How he went from a slasher to starting. He didn't take a lot of threes, but he'll take a couple of them. But his mid-range game just got spectacular. And you kind of seeing the same thing from DeMar DeRozan. He's a mid-range monster in a game to where this is what Monte Ellis want to do. But
don't he remind you of a Rip Hamilton back when he didn't want to shoot threes and he was just at mid-range and then he stepped out I can score more points just stepping a few feet back. That's the same with DeRozan. He'll be literally right in front of the 3-point line and just shoot this jumper. And I'm just just go 2 feet back and you can hit up. There goes another point for you.
You ain't but sometimes they really can't hit those threes. It's something about that 3-point line to where they just can't get it in.
Get nervous.
Yeah, they get
But
nervous.
yeah, I really like this team. I like this team. I like the team, and I like Valanciunas. I really like Patrick Patterson. You know, he came from the Rockets, but he's always been a player that I've always liked to check for and see what he's doing in his career, because he was always he's that tough guy that, you know, when you were talking about earlier. I've also liked Corey Joseph. He's been balling. I like DeMar Carroll. He's kind of Terrence Ross has really stepped his game up, even though he didn't have a good game a couple of games ago. But Terrence Ross, I've really been enjoying, you know, watching him develop.
Am I wrong for feeling like DeMar Carroll is kind of like a bust? Like, I feel like he went to Toronto with a lot of hype, and I just don't feel like he lived up to it. Maybe I'm just putting too much emphasis on his signing. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like they really tried to sell like he was the missing piece.
He wasn't the missing piece. Honestly, if they really wanted to be smart, I wouldn't have committed that money to him, because he had
gave him a lot of money.
Season. He had one season being good.
One playoff series, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't have given that money. Now, take him out there. I would love to put, like, maybe throw my money at like a Gordon Hayward or something to be over there, you know, over him. Or what if they think about this? What if they wanted to sign Batum instead of signing DeMar Carroll? Ooh, now that's
a walking triple double. Right
I think Batum would have took a price cut to go over there. That would have been a nice little fit.
Yeah, because it kind of would have been like Blazer-esque. You know what I mean? Like that would have been
Blazer 2.0 right now.
Yeah, it would have been a strong starting five without like an Aldridge type player. But you can make that scoring up with DeMar DeRozan, then Batum can just stay on the 3-point line, because Carroll can't do nothing from the 3-point line. He's not consistent enough.
He was hot against the Rockets, but over the season, I haven't seen that consistent production, like you said, from him.
Exactly. I still think they're a long way from competing with the East, but they're a fun team to watch. It's going to take the right matchup for them to win the playoff series, though.
They're like a poor man's version of the Rockets team. Like, I'm not trying to just demoralize the Raptors, and I don't want Raptor fans to come on and shoot me or something. But the reason why I say like a poor Rockets team, because they both play fast style basketball. But the thing about the Raptors, they're not as consistent as the Rockets are in shooting the ball, because the Raptors can go cold real quick. Well, the Rockets can go cold, but they can bounce back. But it seems like the Raptors sometimes get stuck in a funk, and they can't get out of their funk. And then the same thing is they like to go the fast-paced basketball. They do have a good big man. Once we have Capella back, we'll be back at that good pace. But they just remind me of the Rockets team, and that's why I think Lowry flourishes in this system, because it reminds him what he used to play with in the Houston offense, where he had kind of like, you were the pseudo star, but there was another star by you. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you can bounce off of, like, because, you know, Dragic would be comparable to, I guess, DeRozan, because, you know, when they used to run the two together, one used to run the point, one used to run the two, back and forth. But I like the Raptors team, honestly.
Yeah, I like them. Then at number 5, man, probably got a little bit too high in some people's minds, but we got the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, yes, sir.
24-16 at the current moment, but I just like the scrappiness. I mean, that grit and grind. What Tisdale's doing with this team is incredible. You know, like it is crazy, because it only took one player for them to get off to this type of start, and it's Troy Daniels. Like, he's shooting his mind out. I mean, we know him from the Houston days when he hit.
Yeah, from the Houston days, yes, sir.
Yeah, we found him. Don't you guys forget?
Don't claim him.
But it's like they got him down there like, hey, Troy, you here to do one thing and one thing only. Shoot these threes,
and you better make them.
And he knocking them down too. He put Golden State to rest. Like, he knocked him out on his own with some kills.
He's more of a scrappier. What's the dude they had? Mike Miller. Like, Mike Miller would hit those threes. Like, you knew Mike Miller was in the game to shoot those threes. Troy Daniels, the same thing, but guess what? Troy Daniels plays defense on the other end. Something Mike Miller kind of always lacked in. And the thing I liked about the Grizzlies, you can constantly put them in. They're like the Spurs. You can constantly put the Spurs in, always in a top 3 team. You can always put the Grizzlies in the top 6, top 5 team, because they're always there. Without injury, if healthy, they're always in there. Yeah, you had that one year they kind of tailed off, but that's because they lost Marc Gasol. And what was that, last year? They lost Zach Randolph for a while. They kind of tailed off. But the thing is, they're always been a tough team. And it's sad that they moved away from their coach, and they got a new coach that has been playing. I didn't think that would be so smart to bring Zach Randolph off the bench. Man, who would have thought that, bringing him off the bench kind of rejuvenated that whole team? And I like the way they're going. If they can get a consistent Parsons, no telling where the Grizzlies could be at. But it seems like since Parsons have left the Houston Rockets, he's been nothing.
Back surgeries.
Okay, this is how
they take
I'm gonna give
quick.
We say back surgeries, but I'm gonna tell you this right now because even before he had the back surgeries, he was telling Parsons reminds me of when you were the girl and y'all are a great couple. But guess what? I start looking at other people. My eyes start to wander every now and then. So you want to leave me. Then you go to another boyfriend who got a little bit more money than me. But guess what? He's not as good as me. Then you lose that boyfriend, go to another one, and he has a little bit more money, but he don't still be as good to me. Every time he got more money from another team, it looked like the situation was better. But guess what? It wasn't as good as where you had it at. And he should have stayed with the Rockets. Honestly, he would be a nice fit with this Rockets team where we are at now. But you know what? The thing I give praises to Morey when he got Trevor Ariza and we got rid of Parsons. I said, guess what? I said, man, we're gonna fall off because I remember how Ariza was not consistent with LA, but man, that was the greatest signing ever because we're not missing Parsons. We got something better, and if Parsons can literally play how he used to play with Houston, Memphis could be very dangerous in the West.
Oh, definitely. It's all about Parsons' shot. When Parsons' shot is falling, that's when he's a dangerous player because we already know.
Fake.
Yeah, we already know he can create plays. I mean, when he was down here, he was almost averaging 5 assists on a team that featured James Harden and Jeremy Lin. So he was able to create plays for other people also while putting up a hot 16 points. So if he can return just to that form of basketball, 16 points, 4 or 5 assists, just getting everybody involved and shooting at least, I want to say 35% from the three-point line, they got a legit player. And we already know Memphis is a team that nobody wants to face in the playoffs because they can upset almost any team in the Western Conference over a 7-game series because they're going to wear you down. Marc Gasol is going to wear you down. Zach Randolph is going to wear you down. That's why I like this team so much. That scrappy player we were talking about in Tony Allen, first team. And he going to let you know he first team.
He let Curry know. When he came back, he was whispering and letting Curry know, first team, you can't hold me. You can't hold me. And guess what? You can't go nowhere on me. That's Boston missed him. I know they replaced him with Avery Bradley, but man, they missed him when they got rid of him.
But everybody thought the Grizzlies was crazy for why they gave Tony Allen this much money. That's why they did it.
You see why?
Yeah, you see why? Because he was very underrated on that 2007 Boston team. They were like, Tony Allen can go. Nobody needs him. Hey, if they would have had that scrappy player, they probably would have went back to back. They wouldn't have lost to the Lakers that second time.
Sure wouldn't have. They would have had that consistency on defense that they needed.
Exactly.
The close to be on Kobe. Picture him on Kobe. Woo-hoo. Kobe wouldn't have been leading no comeback.
Whole different ball game. They would have closed it out. They had a lead. Boston had a lead. They blew the lead. Kobe got hot. Kendrick Perkins came out there in their fresh ass suit.
Oh man, I don't like Kendrick Perkins. I don't ever want to think about Kendrick Perkins.
But man, at number 4, we got the most consistent team in the league over the last 20 years, the Spurs. 30-8 as usual, doing their thing. I mean, it's really no slowing them down. They always going to be a top 5 team no matter what you put them. You can put this team anywhere from 1 through 5, just depending on how you feel about the Spurs. I mean, off consistency alone, night in, night out, they're going to battle. You're not going to blow the Spurs out, and if you do have a big lead, they're always going to be capable of coming back. I'm glad Kawhi Leonard is taking that step toward being a legitimate superstar. Not saying he wasn't before, but I'm just glad he's taking over and starting to take those shots more consistently. I would like to see a little bit more out of Aldridge. I've been seeing what you've been talking about lately. I mean, the numbers don't tell everything. You're not seeing that full commitment on defense like you've seen from a Tim Duncan. Maybe that's not a fair comparison. We're talking about one of the greatest power forwards of all time, but I do wish that Aldridge just step it up a little bit more. I'm not seeing that superstar that they signed for just last year.
I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like he's buying into the system, and their defense has still been questionable at times if you've been paying attention to their game. But the thing that scares me about the Spurs is, they can turn it on and they can turn it off, but can they run, these, up and down the court consistently with, the Rockets, the Warriors, the Clippers, if, they can beat the Clippers, but, with the Clippers or with the Cavs, I can see not making it as far as people might think they're going to make it. And the thing about the Spurs that I think they're going to start missing is they're going to start missing Tim Duncan, and they're going to miss him in going into the playoffs because that defensive anchor that he set night in and night out, there's nobody on the team you can consistently say besides Kawhi Leonard is going to lock down the paint. I
Right.
can't say Marcus Aldridge is going to do that. I can't say that Ginobili's going to come in and be consistent for me, But that's the thing the Spurs are missing. Gasol's not going to do that. It's just like they're missing that, and they're going to see that in the playoffs, and it's going to show.
Yeah. I think you're exactly right. I think everything about the Spurs the past 20 years is going to come to a complete halt in the playoffs. And I'm not saying they won't have a chance, but I think defensively, when they need those key stops and you don't see Aldridge making them or coming up with that key block, it's going to show. I mean, because he's not that same dominant player. He's not going to be a defensive anchor. He looks more toward his offense. But right now, his offense is all about Kawhi Leonard. So,
because everybody think about this. When you had LaMarcus Aldridge, you look back in the day, you had when he's with the Blazers, guess what? You had Batum, you had Marcus Camby that was the center. You had defensive people that would shut down the paint. LaMarcus Aldridge wasn't always, looked at being that player to do that. He was always the person that I can give. I knew I can make this, he can make this this short range jumper for me. But guess what? The Spurs gonna miss that into the playoffs because you're gonna have James Harden that can get to the hole. You gotta have Curry that can get to the hole. Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant. Who's gonna shut down the paint?
Right. Yeah, and they don't even got the big 7'3" dude. He ended up going to the Pistons. They ain't even had a backup plan in place. And I think he was a pretty good rim protector. They could have used him. They could.
Should have.
Not saying he was a big factor, but they could have used that size, especially if Tim Duncan was going to leave. You don't let a 7'3" player just walk away, especially when you know you're going to need some depth at center.
I'm surprised they didn't make a run at Cole Aldridge. Not saying that Cole Aldridge is that good of a player, but he's a big dude, and he could do a little something.
Yeah, I think that size is going to come to catch up with him sooner or later. But it is the Spurs. You can never count out Greg Pop. He's the king of making adjustments in the NBA, and he single-handedly stopped the big three in Miami. So until further notice, you can always put the Spurs in there as a top 5 team.
Yes, sir.
At number 3, we do have LeBron James and the Cavaliers. Number 1 in the East, as usual, sitting at 28-9. Like we just talked about, they did pick up Kyle Korver. It looked like they're going to coast to the NBA Finals as usual. I don't see anything changing that. J.R. Smith should be back pretty soon. Well, not pretty soon, but at least after the All-Star break, they'll get him back. But they probably can hold him out as long as they need to, just to make sure he's healthy. But in the meantime, I see Kyle Korver just jacking up as many threes as he wants to right now in his offense.
Yeah, he's going to jack up those threes. But the thing about the Cavs is just like we touched on earlier, people probably thinking out there, well, Cavs are number 1 in the East. Why are they number 3 in the power rankings? Well, we're going to tell you why. Because I can honestly say there are literally 1, 2, 3, 4 teams in the West that could beat the Cavs if they ever would meet them in the finals.
True.
So yeah, the Cavs may have a nice little cakewalk to the finals, but when you get to the finals, you got real teams waiting on you. And that's the thing about the Cavs. They are good on paper. They look great when they're playing against the Eastern Conference teams, and they're just moving the ball up the court. And you have Kevin Love chilling out there on the 3-point line, J.R. Smith when he comes back, Richard Jefferson. You have Kyrie dancing over there. But guess what? You come face a Western Conference team. No one's going to let you just be playing this little free-for-all ball. It's like you going from college basketball to real, people basketball. I mean, I'm not going to say college basketball. We're just going to say I'm going to keep it like that. But it's just like, that's the thing I don't like about, and that's always going to be in the argument, always going to be, is LeBron James better than Michael Jordan? And I'm going to constantly say no. And it's not because LeBron James lost, in the final so many times, or, his record is not unblemished like Michael Jordan's. No, it's because guess what? Michael Jordan went against the best players. Guess what? When he was winning championships, the East was on top. But guess what? LeBron James is dominating in the East, and the East is not dominant for years. It's been the West. If he was doing what he was doing, if LeBron James take the record he has now, that he's gotten with the Eastern in the East, and he did that against Western Conference team, if he was on like Denver or something like that, I would give him more credit, and then I would listen to the argument: is he better than Michael Jordan? But he's facing weight competition, and he's not facing the best the best players all time. And that's my argument always.
No, I can agree with that. Yeah, he's not going against the stiffest of competition, and as successful of a run he's made these last 6 years, making it to the finals every year, he hasn't done it without the likes of Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, and Ray Allen, and even Tristan Thompson stepping it up big time on the biggest stage. So he's always going to have that help. And not to say that Jordan didn't have any help. That's never going to be the argument that Jordan didn't have any help. But
Jordan had help.
But Jordan elevated his game to GOAT. Do you hear me? GOAT, the greatest of all times. He elevated his game to GOAT status every single playoff run. Even when he played the Pistons, he wanted to beat the Pistons so bad. That's why he put that. That's why he put on.
Didn't he put on all that muscle weight because he said every time he would go in the lane, they would toss him around. And he said, I got to get bigger to deal with these boys.
Yeah, so he actually had to fight to get there. You know, when LeBron couldn't get to the finals or get past those Pistons teams or even the Orlando teams, he left. You know what I'm saying? He left. That, and I'm not saying that Jordan would have did the same thing. I don't think so. Yeah, he retired those 2 years for reasons to this day I still don't understand, but they'll tell you because he wanted to take a break. I don't think so. But he came back, went back to the same team, and he finished what he started those last 3 years of his career with Chicago. So he was able to leave the game, come back, and continue to play at a high level. And LeBron, on the other end, he can't do it without help, and he still has a losing record in the finals at the end of the day. So, no, I don't think he'll ever be able to surpass Jordan in my eyes, but he is still a top 3 player in the NBA of all time, if you ask me. He's still one of the greats, but he's not Jordan. Jordan is on a mountain of his own.
Yeah, he was. He may not. He's gonna be a top 3 just because on his all-around game. And the thing that the Cavs are gonna miss is that bench depth because they are trading for players that, guess what, have some good offense or have good offense or known to have good offense. But guess what? Those players, I can't consistently say that they're going to be able to defend all players, that they have enough depth to give LeBron James a rest or Kyrie a rest. It's going to depend on the big 3 to play lots of minutes consistently, and they're not going to be rested. If they're going to have to, just say that the Cavs go through the East, they cakewalk through the East or whatever. Guess what? When they get to the West, I think they might be tired because the Eastern Conference teams are not the best, but guess what? They're going to give them the run for their money. So you're going to have to put forth the effort to beat these teams. But guess what? When you get to the West, I think you're going to be tired, and I think it's going to show. And I may be wrong, but I don't think that LeBron James, he needs the rest because the damage that he's taken over his body so many years. And I know why he rests and, so he can get playoff ready. But I think that lack of depth is going to mess them up in the long run.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, they just gotta have everybody stay healthy. At the end of the day, it's gonna be about who's gonna be healthy in the finals or just in the playoff stretch in general. And we seen what happened when they lost their stars. They end up losing the finals. Then they go into the finals healthy, and LeBron James comes out successful and gets his 3rd ring. So it's all about health for the Cavaliers. But for the number 2 team, we're gonna be talking about the H-Town Rockets. We got. Maybe we got them at number 2 for biased reasons that we are from Houston, or maybe it's because they are the hottest team in the NBA. You just pick your poison with it. But
I'm not gonna say it's biased because this is the thing. This is why me and you work so well together because we could be biased, but we keep it honest. A lot of fans like the Cowboys fans, and I'm always gonna talk down on Cowboys fans. They literally would sit up there and say, "Oh, our team is so great. We can." Yeah. Y'all not being realistic, okay? Right. Let's be for real. This year, yes, y'all can say that, but 2 years ago when y'all went into the playoffs and y'all had the hot team, y'all knew y'all weren't gonna go to the Super Bowl. No, it wasn't a catch. Dez didn't catch the ball. Y'all know what the rule was. Y'all just want to count. But the Rockets fans keep it 100. We have a tough team. We've had a consistent team. So for so many years, we've always had an underdog team. And guess what? We finally have the team that can take it to the finals. The Rockets are one of the most complete teams in the NBA. Yes, we may be Houston fans, but guess what? We're analysts first. And when we analyze their game and what they're doing right now, the Rockets have conquered it all. They mastered the 3. They mastered the inside game. And when you master those 2 games, your game flourishes. And guess what else the Rockets have they mastered the free throw game because they can go to the line, they can make their shot, they can make big shots. Look at Harold last night making those 2 big free throws.
Clutch. And they gave it
That's
to
what
him.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They give it. The Rockets are playing they're playing team basketball, and team basketball that is supposed to be what the basketball is supposed to be about. And the thing that the reason why I'm gonna honestly say they remind me of the Pistons, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because they play that team chemistry. Mm-hmm. They don't have no superstar besides James Harden, just like, with the, you can say Chauncey Billups where they superstar, Ben Wallace, whichever one you want to take. But they had great pieces that surrounded those star players. Same thing as the Rockets. The Rockets, honestly, I want the Rockets to go to the finals. Not only because I'm a Rockets fan, but because I'm a fan of team basketball. And when I see a team that's playing completely, buying into a system, and they're showing it day in and day out, I want that team to win it all. I wanted them to win it all. I wanted the Spurs to win it all when they was playing the Heat. I wanted the Mavericks to win it all. Same with the Detroit back in the day, even though they lost to the Spurs in 2005. But it's like those teams that play great team basketball. I want those teams to succeed. And honestly, in my finals, I would love to see it be the Raptors or Milwaukee, even though this is not going to happen, versus the Rockets. I would love to see that.
Oh, yeah. I love something like that, especially if it features the Rockets. But I think the biggest surprise to me, other than Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson, has to be Trevor Ariza. I just feel like he's shooting the ball a little bit better. The percentage don't say so, but he hit some clutch shots when we need them, especially in that one Minnesota game we had to come back. So when you get Trevor Ariza going like that, you already know what he's going to be able to do on the defensive side. So when you have that two-way player just really stuck in the middle as your glue player, along with Patrick Beverley, they make this team what it is right now. Like, you're not 31-9 without Ariza and Patrick Beverley. And they don't get a lot of credit, but between Pat Beverley scrapping, it seems like he's always in on the offensive rebound. Just
him and Decker, both.
They both hustle for those rebounds, and you like to see that from your players. You like to want Patrick Beverley wants the ball every time the ball is loose. He wants the ball. Yes, he's going to get that ball. Decker's the same thing, like you just said. Then you got Harold who's been amazing as far as field goal percentage the past few games. It don't seem like he's missing none on the inside. It's not going to keep up, of course, but you just like to see a second-year player being able to finish those plays, running hard toward the basketball. And Nene, oh my goodness, I'm so upset we didn't get Nene at least 4 or 5 years earlier.
I wanted him. I wanted him back in the day when he came off the Nuggets. Yeah. I said I wanted Nene, and we didn't get him.
Yeah, and it's just for a player that plays consistently for his country in the summertime, plus the Olympics and all that, he's in great shape. He runs hard. He plays great defense for a veteran. He's not contesting and jumping at every shot, but he's in the right position. He may force a few misses or tough shots. So it's just that complete team nature. And whenever you can get Corey Brewer going, that's always a plus for the team. Whenever Brew can get 3 or 4 layups to go in, that is a plus for the Rockets. And even when he hit that 1-3, that's all it takes is one. That could be the difference maker from the whole game. So when you can go down to probably your 10th best player and get some production from him, and then you really haven't got Sam Decker fully acclimated into the offense. He's not getting the shots that I thought he'd be getting, but when he's in the game, he's trying to make a play. If it's not for his teammate, he's attacking the rim hard. He's scrapping for rebounds. He's doing all the small things that give you a winning basketball team. So it's not always James Harden, which he's always going to get all the credit. It's the pieces around him that's playing that solid team basketball to why the Rockets are 31-9 and number 2 in our power rankings right now.
And the thing about the Rockets, just how you were talking about with James Harden, it's not always James Harden, because guess what? You have to, for your star to flourish sometimes, you as a role player have to play your role. For Tim Duncan to be the MVP that Tim Duncan was night in and night out, the role players had to know their role. And then Tim was able to do his job and then help out on other aspects. When you do your job, it makes everybody else run so easy. James Harden has consistency at the 3-point shooting, because he's always looked to pass the ball for the 3-point shooters. But guess what? They weren't hitting. He had to worry about Josh Smith. He wasn't hitting his three. Beasley wasn't always consistent with his shot. Then he had, Beverly wasn't consistent a few years ago. Same with the players that we got rid of. But what it is everything is clicking at the right time for the Rockets. And you can say, and the reason why I can argue up and down about Westbrook, we can say Westbrook is a walking triple-double. Guess what? Westbrook is making his money to passing it to Steven Adams and Cantor down low. That's where he's really making a lot of his assist money. It's not the three-point jumpers that are making it. James Harden's getting his assists on all over the floor. If it's whether I got to throw this alley or I got to throw it to the three-point shooter, people are stepping up and hitting their shots. Yeah, you're gonna make these triple doubles. That's why I said me and you say triple doubles are overrated, because if I'm dumping it down to a big man and all you have to do is go up with the ball, why shouldn't I average a triple double?
Right.
So that's why I'm really liking James Harden game. He's the most complete basketball player. Yeah, he's not the best player of all time or something like that, or you can always give the MVP trophy to LeBron James just because how dominant he is, but there is always a player that outshines the best player, and right now James Harden is shining, and he's shining bright, and I hope they take it to the top. I hope they win it all.
Definitely. Well, the team that may possibly win it all, the most loaded.
We ain't gonna talk about too much about them.
Golden State Warriors. Of course, they're gonna be number one. I mean, when you have that much star power, it's hard to put you anywhere else. I mean, when it comes down to this team, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry going to have to come to some type of agreement and see whose team this is, because at some point down the stretch, they're going to have to take a critical shot, a critical game winner. They're going to have to get it together. I mean, you can't see the situation like you've seen in that Memphis game to where Kevin Durant called for the ball and Curry just gave it to him. You can't do things like that. But these type of problems that they're going through, you want to have those problems at 33-6 to where you can make those adjustments and get things figured out, especially down the stretch. But it's like you said, there's not a lot you can say about this team. It's just going to come down to late game operation, and whether they want to run the offense or how they want to run, or if they're going to play ISO ball, because ISO ball will have you losing in the playoffs.
I don't want to talk about the Warriors too much because everybody knows about the Warriors. The only shortcomings they have are the ones that you just so eloquently pointed out. And if they just play team ball and you just want to make sure that they have enough bench depth when it comes to the finals that they're playing, everybody's playing at their peak. If everybody plays at their level, they should have no problem winning the championship. We're gonna have teams that's gonna challenge them. Like I can see the Rockets beating them. I can see the Spurs maybe upsetting them. I can see Memphis upsetting them. But the thing is, if they can't close in the fourth, something that the Rockets are known for, something that the Grizzlies are known for, they're gonna struggle in the playoffs. The team I want to talk about right now, they're not in the top 10. They could have easily gotten a top 10, and they are going to be a top. I want to say they're going to be in a top 3 going. I said next year they're going to be in the top 3. And I say when LeBron starts to decline, this is the team to watch for. The Milwaukee Bucks. They are the most talented team in the East. You have the Greek Freak. He's starting to break out. You have Jabari Parker. He's honestly stepped his game to a whole nother level. You have Snell, who is good on both ends of the floor in shooting the consistent jumper or three, or he's good on defense. Then you have Mike Beasley coming off the bench. You have Greg Monroe, who is still a great center. He doesn't.
Yeah, Greg Monroe could always do a little bit.
But we need you coming off the bench. And then people fail to forget Chris Middleton, who is their leading scorer last year, that led them in rebounding, is hurt and not even playing. When they get him back, say in late February, March, no telling where this team can go this year and next year. And I think Jason Kidd has done a great job with this bunch. And then, let's not forget about Dellavedova. He may not be the greatest point guard, but he's scrappy enough to hold his own against, other point guards and on the defensive side. Yeah. So I really think this team is going to challenge LeBron, the Raptors, the Celtics going on forward. Not right now, but going forward, that's the team to watch for and watch them explode. And when they win a championship, just know you heard it first at Catfish and Grits.
No doubt. Yeah, they do have the most talented roster in the NBA. Once they put everything together and actually start the mesh, they're going to be a scary team, especially with Giannis. We really don't know what Giannis is capable of. Like
there's no telling. There's no telling.
There's no telling. He's still growing as a player. Like as far as his overall game, like he just started getting triple doubles back, I believe, last February. Then he figured out he can do it. Like, I think I can do this more often. He's only 22. 22 years of age, and he's putting up.
Jabari Parker's only 21.
A young team. They definitely are headed in the right direction. All right, man. Mid-season MVP. Who you got? Mid-season MVP.
You already know who I got. We don't have to talk too much about this. Everybody knows. If you follow us enough, you know that James Harden is our MVP, averaging 28 points, what are you averaging, like 8.4 rebounds, leading the league in assists, shooting 44 from the field goal. James Harden is the most complete basketball player, and we give it. Yeah, we know Westbrook is averaging a triple-double. Yeah, we have LeBron James floating out there. Yeah, it seems like Curry's kind of fizzled off, and Kevin Durant is still being Kevin Durant out there. But if you open your eyes and you see what we see, you see a star. You saw a star 2 years ago that was robbed, and I will say it every day until I die. James Harden was robbed of that MVP because what he did with that Rockets team compared to what Curry did for the Warriors team was way more valuable without their star player, and James Harden is doing it again. No star on the team, and guess what James Harden is doing? He's just balling like James Harden does. James Harden has to be one of the most amazing players that I've ever seen that go from a 6-role spot on a team to superstar status in such a short time, because I did not see this coming. When the Rockets got James Harden, I said, oh, yeah, we got James Harden. He's a good player. I said, man, I can't wait until we get another piece around him. But then that first year, he came out and he scored 35, and I was like, whoa.
They're 40.
I didn't see this. And you have to give the man credit. James Harden is the unsung hero of the NBA. He's the most talented right now in the NBA. He's the most fun to watch in the NBA. That Euro step, he's taking what Ginobili brought into the league and elevated to a whole Europe is now famous because of James Harden, just in that one step. James Harden, you have to give the man credit. The beard is doing it night in and night out, and he needs to get his recognition. And guess what? I pray to God, I hope they make it to the NBA Finals so he can boogie all over whoever they play. And they probably going to play the Cavs, and I hope they boogie on them.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned Boogie because I know he's not going to get the award, but I got him as my midseason MVP just as an outcast for the James Harden vote. I mean, this is a player that's increased his scoring the last 5 years, and night in, night out, he can give you 30, 13, and 5 with ease. And he's doing this with players like Rudy Gay, Darren Collison, and Ty Lawson around him. He's the best shooter on his team, if you just want to be completely honest. I mean, looking at his stats, 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 40% from the three-point line, 80% from the free throw line. Those are stats that you want from a starting center in the NBA, and AKA the most dominant center in the NBA, if you ask me. But like I say, that'll be my vote. He doesn't have a legit chance of winning, especially if his team don't make the playoffs. But he's doing at the center position what James Harden did for the Rockets a few years ago. And you can even say what he's doing now with no stars around him, and he has to dominate the game and take all the shots.
And let's not forget that I heard a little rumor out there that he might be signing a 5-year, $210 million contract to stay with the Kings. Personally, I think he's running for the money, but he needs to be running to the team that gives him the best opportunity to win a championship. And Sacramento has proved time in and time out that they are not relevant, and they have not been relevant since Chris Webber was walking through the halls. And I think that he needs to go to a team that can discipline him and craft him into a ultimate star. This guy could be literally greater than Shaquille O'Neal. O'Neal, because he has more of an all-around game than Shaquille O'Neal dominated in the paint. Boogie can dominate in the paint. He can hit the Euro step. He can hit the jump back fader. He can hit the 3-point coming up the court. Defense is something that he may need to work on a little bit more and be a little more dominant on that end. But this dude, like you said,
he ain't got no scrappy player around him though. All the teams we've been talking about had that one scrappy player. That Rudy ain't scrapping for you. I like it drunk. You know, it's like I say, it's just a player to throw out there. He don't have a chance, but Boogie Cousins one of my favorite players. When we move on to the Coach of the Year award, me personally, I pick Quinn Snyder. I love what he's doing with the Jazz. First in their division over the Thunder. The entire team's committed to defense and being unselfish. This is a team that only has 3 players that take double-digit shots. And nobody takes more than 15 shots, but those 3 players that do take double-digit shots are their three-point shooters. So it's pretty much, hey, if you're not shooting threes, you're going to get the ball whenever the offense is flowing and you're open. You're not going to force no shots up. So that's the type of thing you want from a head coach. Everybody buying into the plan. 3 and D. If you can force them into a miss, the shooter's going to take their threes. If not, we're going to run everything slow. We're going to run a slow-paced offense. We're going to find the best shot. That's what I like in my Coach of the Year. He don't have the star talent, but he got his entire team to commit to one style of play.
He's the Brad Stevenson of the West, because what he's done with that Utah team is nothing short of incredible. That they're literally a contender in the Western Conference, in this I want to say in this Western Conference of stars, and they literally have 1, maybe 2 kind of pseudo stars, and they don't have no true natural name brand players. And they're what are they, 6 in the West? They're tied with Memphis right now. That's crazy. Going into the season, we saw Utah making a splash because they were on the outside of the playoffs last year, but Utah really has impressed me. But we all know who's going to get the Coach of the Year. And if they keep on winning, they're going to get the Coach of the Year. That's the boy, D'Antoni. Yes, D'Antoni will be Coach of the Year because his team is playing at the best basketball the whole season in the NBA. No, Steve Kerr would not get it. No, what's his boy? Short boy in Cleveland. His name just escaped me.
Tyronn Lue.
Yeah, he's not gonna get no MVP. Brad Stevenson's not gonna get Coach of the Year. I mean, none of these people are gonna Coach of the Year. D'Antoni deserves it. What he's done with the Rockets is way more than what he did with the Phoenix Suns. Yeah, the Phoenix Suns created that fast-paced offense where they're up and down the floor 7 seconds or less. But guess what? They weren't dominating like the Rockets are dominating. They have mastered the 3. He highlighted the skills of the Rockets, and he's highlighted the skills of James Harden and made everybody else step their game up to that, because James Harden was known for threes, going into the paint and shooting free throws. And what do the Rockets do? Shoot threes, go to the paint, and shoot free throws. Everybody had to mimic their game off of James Harden, and he's did a great job with the Rockets, and there's no more to say.
No doubt, no doubt. Who you got for most improved player?
Most improved player. See, this could be a debate out there, but the player that I say is the most improved, I know who you're going to say, but I say my boy Jabari Parker. The way he stepped it up when Chris Middleton went out, because I thought the Milwaukee, when they lost him, they started fizzling out, and people weren't talking about them that much. But we're talking about a 21-year-old that's averaging in the past 2 months over 22 points a game, but over the season he's averaging 20.7 points a game, 5.8 rebounds, and 2.6. That's huge numbers coming from a man who was just injured. What was that? Last year he was injured.
Yeah,
last year.
Yeah, but he was just getting his legs back last year. So
that's what I'm saying. This dude has made an elevation in his game, and yeah, you can even give it to, you can do most improved players to him and Greek Freak, because both of them have elevated their game to a different level that nobody saw coming. Because where I saw Jabari Parker going is nowhere close to where the level he's playing with. And the way, if he can step his game up to a whole different other level going into next season, like I said, this team could easily be top 3, maybe can overtake the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you never want to sleep on LeBron James, but he is getting up there in age. This is the team of the future. The most improved player is probably going to be Isaiah Thomas. But if you want to, I give it to the whole team. The whole Bucks need to be the most improved player of the year. The whole Bucks team.
No doubt. I mean, the reason I pay such close attention to things like 3-point percentage, because you don't want to know about the attempts. You don't want to know if they're jacking up more shots. You want to know if they're taking smarter shots. Jabari Parker is clearly taking smarter 3-point shots. To go from 25% to 41%, that means you're either getting open or getting in position or finding your sweet spot on the court to where you know you can knock them down. So it's all about taking those smarter shots and making your efficiency better for the team. Because if you take stupid threes, long rebounds, now you're giving up fast break points. So that's probably the biggest step I see in his game. That's why Jabari Parker has jumped from 14 points to 20 points. It's those 2 threes he added to his game. That's all it takes. You're able to knock those threes down. Now your scoring is going to increase. But yeah, definitely. Me personally, I did pick Isaiah Thomas. I liked how he increased his scoring from 22 to 28, and this is after adding the All-Star. Another player that's taking smarter shots. He has a better three-point percentage, free throw percentage, and field goal percentage. So that means overall, he's getting to the basket, knocking down his free throws, and he's taking smarter shots on the court. Explosive, capable abilities from at a 5'9" guard. You know, you able to explode for 52 points, that's big time. Especially at such a small stature in the NBA where you got DeMar DeRozan's taking fadeaway shots, scoring 28 points. You know what I mean? So as a smaller guard, he's doing his thing. Third best record in the Eastern Conference. And this is last year where they finished 5th. So that entire team is improving. He's improving as a player, and he's stapling himself as a leader of this team. So I like everything that Isaiah Thomas is doing on his end.
Oh, and don't sleep on another outside person who has an outside chance of maybe getting it. Anthony Davis, 29 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, averaging like 2-3 blocks a game. He's stepping it up, and he's having the type of season that he's having an MVP type of season that I thought he was going to have last year. He's having right now. If that team if they can squeeze, honestly, this is what I hope, and this is wish I really wish. I wish Anthony Davis. I wish I would go to sleep and wake up, and Anthony Davis somehow, some way was on the Celtics. I believe I would be the biggest Celtics fan because with him and Isaiah Thomas, and just say the weapons that they have now, I swear they could be the greatest team on paper and probably the greatest team to watch because they will all complement each other. They will play the smartest basketball under Brad Stevenson. Boy, that'll be a joy to watch.
And there'll be some spacing right there. They'll be able to do a lot more when you got Anthony able to hit those threes and be a legitimate threat on the inside. So, yeah, I can agree with that. You know, me, myself, when I went for the 6-man award, I had to think a little bit outside the box. I had to go with Zach Randolph, man. You know, this is the player that's coming off the bench. He can still dominate one-on-one as a post player. 14, 8, and 2 assists in 20 minutes of action. Talk about efficiency. If this was Randolph efficiency – and he was just maybe 5 years younger, he's probably an all-star at this rate because when you putting up these type of numbers in 20 minutes, what can you do if you was out there running up and down the court for 40 minutes and able to jump? You know, he hadn't been able to jump since his Portland years. But like you said a little bit earlier, this transition from the bench, he's become a more efficient player because now he knows, like, all right, when I come in, I got to be a spark and I got to create offense for this team. When he's in there, they trying to give him the ball. They trying to feed him. So now he comes in and he knows exactly what he needs to do. He knows if the team is down. He's still able to hit his mid-range shots, his baby hook. Like he's just able to finish, and that's what you want from a player coming off the bench, knowing that, all right, I need 10 points off the bench. Who can provide that? Shit, Zach Randolph can give you 20 on a good night.
I totally forgot to even mention Zach Randolph because, you know, that's smart. That was a smart coaching decision to bring him off the bench, like you said. And you never would have thought that because him and Marcus Gasol didn't clog the paint up like you think they would. They kind of complement each other because the ball movement that they did about 2 years ago, you know, with Mark would get the ball and Zach would just cut in and he'll throw it behind his back to him. It was something special to watch. And, you know, going in, you know, saying, you know what, we're going to bring you off the bench is probably one of the smartest moves that I've seen. Personally, I would give it to him. I'll give it to Greg Monroe. You know, he's coming off the bench. He's averaging like a good, healthy 15 points a game. And guess what? Right now he's starting to average like in the 20s because, you know, he's playing more minutes because, you know, injured players and, you know, the Greek the Freak was hurt. I would also give it, you know, a nice little shout out to Brandon Knight coming off the bench. He's been balling. Like these players that no one really talking about are players that's been playing consistent all year that haven't been getting any love because they don't have the quote unquote the star player, but these players have been putting up consistency numbers. But I'm going to go with another Rockets, and we're just going to say that this may be the fandom in me, but I'm going to go with Eric Gordon.
Hey,
he's not even coming off the bench.
Yeah.
He's coming off the bench now, but at first he wasn't. And then D'Antoni said, you know what, maybe it's going to maybe it may look better if I bring you off the bench. You know, he brings the scoring threat that the Rockets needed. The Rockets needed a consistent scorer that could take away the pressure from James Harden. Just say that you needed James Harden in the fourth quarter and you need another star. When those players, when the defense start to surround Harden, you need another player that can draw some attention away from Harden. And Eric Gordon has been that player. And I really think that pickup that they did of him in the offseason was one of the smartest moves that I didn't see coming, because Eric Gordon may be the sixth man in my mind, award winner of the year, but guess what? He could easily be an all-star on any team, any year. But the thing was, injuries always derailed his career. He's always been a scrapper. He's always been a baller. But, you know, injuries. And, you know, this is how the game basketball goes sometimes. Sometimes those good players get breaks, and sometimes good players kind of fall to the wayside from injuries. T-Mac and Gary Payton. I'm not Gary Payton.
Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway. Oh, Penny Hardaway. God, he was one of my favorite, but I was meant to say it was Grant Hill. But it's just like those players that could – Yao Ming, if you want to talk, let's be honest, Yao Ming could have been a star player, but I mean, he was a star player. But picture how great Yao Ming would be if he wasn't healthy. If he couldn't keep a good foot, man, it was pitiful. But yeah, I'd like to give it to my boy Eric Gordon. But you know, the person that I truly think deserves it is Brandon Knight, because of what he's doing for the bench. But the Sun don't have a winning record, so I got to give somebody who's winning, and Eric Gordon is holding down. Rockets got a good record.
No doubt, man. I think the consensus rookie of the year for me, I hope you feel the same way, is going to be Joel Embiid.
Lord.
It got to be consistent. I think we both can agree on that. I mean, you probably can throw out Buddy Hield, but it's not Joel Embiid. I feel like he's probably the best player on that team. And he's not even getting his max minutes, kind of like Zach Randolph. He's only getting 25 minutes of action. This is nobody. And he's still putting up 27, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 46% from field goal, 36 from 3, 80 from the free throw line. He's a legit star. And if Ben Simmons can come back and create that playmaking aspect, this could be a dangerous team further down the road. But once he starts to trust his body, he will be a complete force in this league if he can play 82 games. Yeah. Once he just really feel like, all right, I'm completely healthy, I can jump as high as I want to, I can do all the things I did before I got hurt when I was a star at Kansas.
Yeah, man, he's a special player, and you saw it the night when the Sixers finally like let him start and actually come in. He created noise. Like, he looked good. He was spry. He's like Anthony Davis. He reminds me of Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I can see it.
But the thing that differentiates them is Anthony Davis reminds you more of a power forward, even though he can't play center. Joel Embiid is a center that can't play power forward, but
or three.
His game is nice, and the thing that you said about it's capped by minutes. The dude is the second coming of KG. Okay. If you want to take it there, reminds me of KG. But the thing that about him that I like a little bit more than KG is KG was a good offensive player and he was a good defensive player, but he wasn't always in the paint. Joel can hit it on the outside, but he can bang it with the boys in the paint. So he can bang with those tough boys. And if he can stay healthy, boy, you know, DeMarcus Cousins gonna have a butt slapping buddy for a lot of years.
You're not lying, man. I like his game. I think the more and more confidence he gets, he already got a lot of confidence now. He can easily be a player that can get you about 26 and 13 and maybe 3 blocks a night. I mean, I think he has that kind of potential. And he's probably going to be one of my favorite centers going into the future next to Boogie Cousins. I like that whole aspect. I hope they're going to have a few battles down the road and hopefully a playoff battle. You never know.
Hey, the Sixers got some nice pieces on their squad.
And they can always add more, especially with the records they be putting up. But definitely, man, we probably gonna cut this one short today. We got a lot we didn't get to, but we're gonna catch up on all that next week. But we also gonna have the results of the divisional round coming to you early next week. But as of now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
All right, y'all take it easy out there, America.